This week you have a choice on what champion from the 7-star Saga Champion Selector you are going to be selecting to make sure that you are going to awaken and utilize further in your roster. This requires one shot, one choice, and you can't mess it up. This is also a good opportunity for people to catch up. If you don't have any of these particular champions, you missed out, say, on the Magnetron crystals for Captain Marvel, then you could have that option of that champion, or you could awaken one of the other champions. But mainly, like, if you haven't got one of the champions, you're like, oh, I really want to get myself a 7-star Ultron, which I don't think I have a 7-star Ultron. It's always best to check these things, but what I do, I've just skipped past. What is wrong with me? It's right there. Yeah, 7-star Ultron. If you've got some of these champions you want to awaken for whatever reason to utilize further, then go do it. If you don't have these champions for the very first time, go out and get it, right? This is a good opportunity for you to catch up, so to speak. There are a lot of positive things to awakening a lot of the champions. There's ones that, of course, you rate a lot higher. So first of all, I'm going to get it completely out of the way. If there's anybody disagrees with me on this one, I'm not even gonna, like, if you disagree with me on this particular point, like, I'm on my hill. I shall die on that hill for this. I mean, I've already got her awakened. I don't know how, but I have. Ultimately, it's going to be like a non-use type thing. 7-star Invisible Woman. At this moment in time, without any kind of like ability-based reworks or changes to the champion, I just don't recommend Invisible Woman at this moment in time. Do I think she's going to be buffed in the future? I undoubtedly think that is going to be the case. But right here, right now, don't even go there. Don't go there, girlfriends, or boyfriends, or viewer friends, or audience friends, or friends. If you haven't seen the In-Betweeners, you're not even going to get that reference in any kind of way, shape, or form. So let's just roll out Invisible Woman. Let's narrow them down. Let's go to next, Captain Marvel. Of course, the movie-looking version. The champion benefits from an indestructible buff off of being awakened. It can make her a little bit more of a pest when it comes to defense and offense with that indestructible-based buff. It does add a little bit more to the champion being able to like withstand some unexpected damage, but at least allows you to be a bit more of a freight train. Don't get hit by a special attack, because otherwise your indestructible buff is going to go. However, there are other champions in the list that are a bit more beneficial on a defense, even more so on defense, but then unlock more of their offensive-based abilities to then do more damage for you, and also be a relatively interesting option to be put into defense. It also depends from a Captain Marvel standpoint. If you're looking to put a lot of signature stones in to the champion, this is what a 6-star looks like. And of course, from a 7-star perspective, you want to reduce down the amount of time it takes to get that indestructible buff to pop up. And of course, you want to lengthen the time that you have the indestructible buff on. So you will be feeling that you'll have to invest in a lot of signatures as well at the same time. Now, number 3 on the list, from my perspective, this is my opinion, it's Nightcrawler. I missed out on getting a 7-star Nightcrawler, so this could be an opportunity for me to get it for the very first time. Mainly because I threw a hissy fit and threw my toys at the pram, because I was like, look, I don't want to farm so much in MCOC back then. Now I feel ultimately forced to do that because, again, FOMO comes around again. And I'm like, okay, am I going to just go and grab this now? Is it going to save me a bunch of time? But then I find myself doing nightmare raids. And then, of course, I find myself having this as an option to get. The Awakened base ability, which is unlocking more of his damage potential on offense, means that he can be a viable defensive-based option and an offensive-based option. This is my 6-star version, which I have 60 signatures on. And you can see, increase the... We're going to ignore the Nightcrawler's evade chance can only be lowered by tech champions. Well, duh, that's just like mutant champions being overthrown by tech champions. Okay, we know all that. But it's this point here. Increase the potency of Nightcrawler's instant bleeds and critical damage rating by X% of its current prowess potency. Increase the prowess, obviously prowess potency, equals more damage potential, bleeds, and critical damage rating. 200 signature or higher to that. The higher you go with the signature ability, the more damage he's going to do. This means that Nightcrawler becomes an option for not just defense, being annoying with evades, but also can be used in an offensive-based manner, like, okay, well, I'm just going to use him against some skills. Can be a viable option in monthly Valiants, could be an option in some type of content, like Act 9.3, 9.2, 9.1, whatever. He becomes more viable for different stuff. And I'm not saying he wasn't viable before, because he does have nice prowess damage. It's just you're amplifying more about the offensive-based abilities that he can then exploit a bit more. Here is where I cannot decide on what would technically be a number one position, because it should or could be equally shared between Mr. Sinister or Ultron. And if you're holding back on an Awakening gem for whatever reason, or want to push them to a further rank as a 7-star, then this could be your decision making. You could have held back and then either go with one or the other. It depends what your budget is for Awakening gems, but both of these champions are very good options. Mr. Sinister has his own applications in different areas of the game where he is going to be very good. So if you're planning to do more questing and you need a champion that's able to go from fight to fight, there's a good chance that, say, you're able to build your degenerations well. You don't need anything like synergy-wise around him. It's up to you if you want to use a synergy with the champion, but he's able to hold his own. Improving things, the different types of champions he defeats, whichever class it is, if it's a cosmic, is it mutant, skill, whatever. And this is a champion that I really wish I used a lot more in Incursions, or had the time for more Incursions outside of doing Saga Incursions, because the buff, I haven't played him since the buff, but before I used him, and it was fun to kind of have that per different class you defeat, you gain benefits and bonuses. It's very difficult in Saga Incursions because at times you'll be very rooted to one particular class or two particular classes that you'll repetitively fight off against. What was it? I can't remember what the most recent one was. Month has been a blur. But if it was skill, then you'd get more precisions, increasing critical rating by X amount. Depending on what you're faced up against, mutant prowess increase, special attack damage. Like, there's some really helpful things there. If there's a long questing, look, if you could do Crucible and have one particular champion, it would be amazing, but you can't. If you're doing Act 9.3 and there's a cause to use the champion, then you can have that awaken ability and be able to defeat a whole array of champions, providing obviously some mutant that you could use for the path to clear. And then, of course, you might have to switch out with the boss, because it doesn't necessarily mean that the champion is going to be the best counter. But all those positive bits of like things you can see right on screen, like you can gain all those by awakening the champion and adding more signatures. And here is a 200 signature 6-star version. So it's always very tricky to go, do I have 200 signatures or near 200 signatures to apply to this champion? Yes, I agree that maybe 200 signatures is a bit over the top for what you would kind of add into the champion. However, you look at all the positives that you can get out of the champion being awakened, and you're like, maybe. And do you know what? The weirdest thing that I've just seen is I've never pulled a 6-star Ultron. Never done it. What I was going to do is do a server reference to the champion. Like, that is so weird. I've never been able to pull a 6-star. Since the champion was released as a 6-star, never pulled it. That is surprising. However, the point I was going to get to and finish off the video is that with absorption for the champion, incoming incinerate and shock effects suffer, a minus 80% duration, which is really handy if you're looking to, say there's a hazard shift. Then the champion can be an option for that, whatever's put on that hazard shift. But also energy damage effects, attacks that deal damage cause Ultron to regenerate X amount, giving a little bit of sustainability and survivability. The champion doesn't necessarily need to be awakened to be good, but if you're looking to get him for the first time, it can be helpful. If you're getting him for free off Nightmare raids, again, relatively helpful. Rotation around doing bleed damage, relatively easy to do. Very good at killing and just taking off any mutant-based champion. Not really a threat in defense, but from an attacking element, and Mr. Sinister is definitely up there, Ultron could be a definite kind of like second place or equal first of option to choose for obviously the reason of getting for the first time, not picking him up in Nightmare raids, or for whatever reason, of course, you're looking for a very high tech based damage dealer that has stood the test of time, then of course Ultron might be that champion for you. But anyway, those have been my top picks, and of course who I've rated at the very top, well, the last. And that's going to be it for the video. Thank you very much for watching. Check out some other content located on the screen. I'll see you all soon. Bye bye for now.